I talk about a lot of things people don't want to talk about. People feel a lot of different ways, and they're too scared to really speak about it. And I I've noticed this a lot over time, and I think it's because people don't want to feel ostracized when they talk. You know, they don't want to feel ostracized for how they feel, or um, just for their different views and opinions. Because the truth is, that scares people. That scares a lot of people, and I don't think many people realize that. Like when you talk about something that's not part of the social norm, like at all whatsoever, you you become a threat to everybody. You become outcasted and ostracized and pushed out of everything. And most people don't understand that or realize that. And but it's because that's why I talk about the things I talk about. My most recent video about, violent fantasies. Why do you think I talk about that so much? It's because I don't. People are too scared to talk about that. I admit that I do feel those things, and I want to do those things. I don't, but I want to do those things. You know what I mean? And when you want to do something like that, it makes you feel great about yourself. When you decide that you want to hurt others, when you admit that you take accountability, you're okay. So I tell people is you're right. You didn't do anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with what you did. Nothing wrong at all. You didn't do anything wrong. You're not weird for it. You're not a bad person. You're you. And I think when you are different and you decide to talk about things that most people don't want to talk about, you grow into a weird situation where you get pushed out of everything, and nobody wants to admit that that happens or that they do that, but it happens. And when you push people out, ostracize them for simple differences, ways they feel, the more you push them and demonize them, the sooner they become what you demonize them for. And I'm sick of this whole stigma that having these, that it's weird to have these violent fantasies. It's not weird. It's normal. Just because it's not your norm doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that's my norm. It doesn't mean I'm gonna hurt you. It doesn't mean this or that. And people bully and ostracize these kids and these young people who feel that way, who try and talk about it. And what happens is, the more you push them, the more likely they're gonna hurt you over it. They don't know how to react because all you've done was hurt them. And when that kid comes to school, or that person comes to work and hurts you and hurts other people, who are you to blame? Do you blame everybody else, or do you blame them? Or what if they decided not to do that? What if you decided not to harass them, ostracize them, demonize them? Would they have still hurt you and hurt others? We'll never be able to know, because all you ever did was hurt them. All you ever did was ostracize these people for their beliefs, how they saw the world, and what they felt. They can't stop those feelings or thoughts. All they did was try to speak up and get help. And what you did instead was you hurt them. You put them into a corner, in a position where they cannot do anything but defend themselves. They don't know what to do. They're not mentally well, and that's okay. It's okay to not be mentally well. What happens when you don't take accountability, when you continue to do this? All you do is you become a you are what you think they are, you know? You're the monster that you think they are, that you see them as, just because they decided they wanted to do this or that. That's what you are. Nobody wants to take accountability and recognize that maybe I am part of the problem. Maybe I caused that. Maybe I was a factor into why someone snapped and lashed out, and they'll never be the same again. That's why they did that. You didn't want to admit. You did not want to help them. You were stuck in where you were, and you wanted to ruin them. That's what happened. And I don't get why we're still having this is a topic of discussion. You see these people, and they seemingly had no real problems. They were just, maybe bullied, and then they go to wherever they were, and then they hurt everybody after. Why did they hurt them? We don't know. For all we know, they could have, they could have been a perfect child. To you, maybe. But what happened behind closed doors? Were they a perfect child because that's actually who they were? Or did you just ignore their problems? Did you ignore their cries for help? That's the real question. Nobody wants to take accountability and be like, yeah, maybe I was a problem in that. Maybe I was a factor in them hurting themselves. Nobody wants to admit that, but that's what happens. You hurt yourself. You hurt them, and you hurt yourself, because now you don't want to admit it. You want to be this all gracious, all knowing person, but you don't want to take the chance to admit that you are wrong in this. You want to know why? Because you don't want to be changed. You don't want to be ostracized yourself. You want to be accepted by everybody else just like they do. But you won't be. Because in the end, you're worse than anybody you ever hated and judged. You are just as bad, if not worse than them. You are the monster that you always hated. You turned into the person that you ostracized. And you'll never get judged for it. You never get called out for it, because it's always in retaliation that matters to them. If you retaliate, you will always be the one in the wrong. But why is that? Why, if I retaliate, I'm in the wrong for what I did? Am I actually in the wrong, or did I defend myself? Why would I be the one getting most of the judgment and hate when it's you that pushed me to that point? You made me alone. You put me in a position where I couldn't do anything. I don't get that. And I've been like that. I've been in a scenario where I was ostracized and alone. And it fucking sucks, man. And if I had nothing to lose, I would put everybody in the dirt that they buried me in. because that's what you deserve. You're no better than anybody else. You're worse than everybody else. You are the epitome of bad person. You are a fucking monster. You destroy other people because you think they're weird. You don't like how they're above the norm. That's what you think. That's what you hate. And I can see that in you. You know? I know that you're a bad person. And you should get the same treatment that those people do when they lash out. Because you're the ones